Any political aspirations for you beyond mayor?
Zero.
Zero.
Absolutely not.
Well, that's what he said, everyone, when he was asked to be mayor.
Isn't that the truth?
If there's anyone in the city of Murray that we would think knows what's going to be going on in Murray and who knows what current and future homeowners would want to know, it's this man sitting here with me today. This is Mayor Brett Hales, Mayor of Murray City. Thank you so much for meeting with us today.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And you've got two gentlemen with you today, and that will cause a bit of a microphone kerfuffle. Normally, we've just got two microphones. I'm not that big time yet, guys. I don't have too many microphones. If you would mind introducing the gentleman with us in today's interview. I'm going to keep this mic on, friends, and then we're going to be passing this other microphone around. I'm sorry, guys. We'll be just passing a microphone around. But if you could just introduce the gentleman with you.
You bet. This is Chad Wilkinson, and Chad is our Community Economic Development Director. Handles all the planning and building department and things like that. So then you got Kim Sorensen over here, and Kim worked with Parks and Rec for years, and I brought him over to the mayor's office, and he is what they call the CEO, Chief Administrative Officer, and it's like that was like a city manager. We don't have a city manager. We're what we call strong mayor, where I'm over everything. I'm over police, fire, every department. We handle all that. The council's not over that at all. We're separate. So we got a council of 5, and then Kim, like I said, even though he is not a city manager, he acts as a city manager and takes care of a lot of things that I can't do, and which is he's the guy that kind of runs everything with me.
Got it. Well, like we said before, it's good to have people who are smarter than you when you're trying to run anything. So,
and they both are.
Yeah, and thank you both for being here, as well as you, sir.
Thanks.
All right, so let's just jump right into it.
Okay.
First question, how long have you lived here in Murray?
I've lived here going on 39 years.
39 years, that's older than my cameraman.
That's right.
And then how long have you been mayor?
So it's my second term, 4.5 years. I'm into a half a year. Have 3.5 years left of this term.
Okay, cool. And can I ask, what was your motivation for becoming mayor? What were you doing before you were mayor?
I was on the council with Murray City. I was on 3 terms. Even during that, I worked for Cypress Credit Union. It was my full-time job. I was a vice president there, and I ended up having to retire because of my MS, multiple sclerosis. So being on the council kind of just gave me something to do. It's mostly nighttime stuff, hour or two. And so it didn't require a lot. So I was able to do that. Then I started to get better.
Yeah.
My MS, I started using cannabis. It got me out of my wheelchair and some other medicine that got me back my health back. And so I'm doing great as far as health-wise with that. And so I ran for mayor, and I just thought, you know what I thought? I felt so good during my council term and terms, and I just had, several people asked me if I'd ever run for mayor, and I said absolutely not. And all of a sudden, just like everything else, I'm going, I got the bug. And I'm telling you, it's been the first 4 years has been a highlight, and I'll get into some of the stuff we've done. But just even beginning this first half a year, it's just kind of exciting knowing that we're back on with another 4 years, and we're going to have lots to do. And I enjoy, my number one priority are our employees and citizens. Really, employees, citizens, and stakeholders. And if you can keep those people happy, and there's just a certain way you go about doing that, and some of that comes with you, some of that just is part of who you are. And I'm a people person, and so I think that's what brought a lot of success. Smarter than anybody else? Absolutely not. In fact, like we said earlier, my department heads and people like that, they're a lot smarter because they know their divisions, and I don't interfere with that. I think if I interfered, I think we'd be in trouble.
Yeah, especially when they're smarter than you at whatever it is that they're specialized on.
Yeah.
So this isn't, now I'm just curious, these aren't part of the interview questions, but I'm just curious, why did you say absolutely not when people were suggesting maybe earlier that you run for mayor?
I didn't think my health could do that.
You were conscious of the MS.
Yeah, because here I was in an area or situation years before that where I was literally in a wheelchair and on a feeding tube, and I was sick, and I was heading out. I was that sick. I had 105 temperature for a long time.
Oh man,
it was crazy. Anyway, and so when I started to get better, all of a sudden I had this new lease on life, and I thought, you know what? maybe I will do that, because that could give me, it just kind of gives you, when you're better, if you're not good, then you're okay not doing anything.
Sure.
But when you're better, doing nothing isn't good for the soul or your brain or your mind, anything. And so
Agreed.
I just thought, you know what? I'm going to at least try, and I'll spend 6 months trying. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And we were very blessed I've had 10 elections here, and this isn't a brag. I have 10 elections here, and I won all 10. And it's been kind of cool. So the generals and the primaries, we've been really, I don't know if it's lucky, blessed, but we've got to know the people of Murray, and we've fallen in love with them, and we love everything we do here. I say we, my wife's involved with me. I mean, she's come up with a lot of great ideas here at Murray City. So
that's great. Well, I'm glad you're still with us and doing as well as you are.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Any political aspirations for you beyond mayor?
Zero.
Absolutely
not.
Well, that's what he said, everyone, when he was asked to be mayor.
Isn't that the truth? I have a friend who will, we won't say her name.
Sure.
I already have said her. But I really believe, just like you said, she's been so well received. And me, I really spend more time here in Murray City. Other mayors I've noticed, especially maybe part-time, because part-time mayors have more time to be able to go to the Hill and that kind of stuff. And we still go to the Hill, and we have representatives during legislative session. But I've just noticed a lot of mayors do that. And some of the part-time mayors are really able to, they have city managers running the city. And so they're able to go on the Hill and have a little more political desire. And there's one that I believe that'll run for governor in the next 2 years. And I might be wrong, but we'll see. But
yeah,
it's just, but so someone like that, I would say absolutely. Me, and people always say, "Oh, you should run for governor." Well, do they know what that means? Yeah, I don't know what it means, and I don't really want to know what it means.
And maybe they know what they think it means for them if you're a governor, right?
Exactly.
And so it's flattering to have people ask. Yeah.
But yeah, no. Mayor of Murray is where it ends, and who knows if I'll run another term. I may not, or I may. So.
Well, I hope your health keeps up at it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
All right. The next question. My wife thinks I shouldn't ask this question, but I don't know why not. And that's just, what do you wish people knew about being mayor? If there's anything that you wish people knew, because before this interview started, we were talking off camera about it's impossible to please everybody. There's always a bunch of naysayers. There's always a bunch of negativity. And does that consume any of your time? And or is it to the people who critique you most, is there anything you wish they knew about what it is to be mayor?
That's good. That's a good question. Yeah, I would say, for me, I wouldn't have said this to you 10 years ago of being a city council member or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you say, I wish they knew that this was a 24/7 job, because I do this 24/7. And when I say 24/7, my phone's on. I have fire calls coming in every few minutes, and so I know how to turn it off. But I have that. I have police calls coming in all the time. I have maintenance work where we have water lines break, residents coming in, and then there's also all these events everyone wants you to be there. And I'll tell you, the first term I was at every little thing, and kind of started out the same way with the second term. And then when I was talking to you, I got those shingles, and I've had those for 4 months. Well, my doctor says, "You doing anything stressful?" I said, "No."
I might be running a city.
Yeah, he knows. Anyway, and I just said, "No, of course not." But yeah, and so I have this. This is also something I've learned. I've had to learn when to pull back. It's hard when you're running a city to pull back, but I've got, like I said, department heads, people in the mayor's office that are phenomenal, that can help, that do help run this city. That when I have something like that, I can pull back. And the shingles thing was like a 3-week episode that I was trying to do. I mean, I've still got it, but during that main time. And so, just to let people know that it really is a 24/7. You always have your phone. It doesn't matter if you're on vacation. Unless I say don't call me, but it's not my style.
Yeah.
It's not my style to say don't call me, because I am the mayor, and I really should take a call.
Be available.
Yeah.
I like that. I won't compare being a realtor at all to being the mayor, but there's a lot of misunderstanding about what it is to be a realtor too. So I think that's where the question's coming from. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who think XYZ that's completely, it's based in nothing but what they think
Right.
and zero data or facts. And I like to ask that question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So what is new and upcoming in your city? And I want to hear what you have to say, and then I want to know specifically about the master. I'm gesturing out this window for you
Okay.
watching, because just outside this window is where there is a master plan for something coming up, and maybe that's where Chad can come in
Yeah,
and
we'll
talk a
have
little
Chad.
bit more as well.
But I'll tell you what we coming up. We just built a brand new public works building, and that's over off 45th and 5th West, and it's all our it's public works. I mean, people that fix your pipes, fix your leaks, water leaks, plumbing, sewer, water, all that falls under there. So we just got a brand new building, which was good for them to be able to do their job. We have built a brand new theater, the Murray Theater. So it's just restored. We didn't build it; we restored it.
Where? Where's the
It's
Murray
on
Theater?
State Street. In fact, if you looked over there to your right kitty corner,
Yeah.
you would be able to see it if those trees weren't there. So it's on Vine and State. So that's Vine right there.
And when we say theater, do we mean movie theater or
It's
like
movie,
acting?
It's concerts. We have a Journey tribute band coming on Friday. It
I
sold
live in
out.
Murray, and I don't even know about
Yeah,
this.
sold
Right.
out, and so we have had a lot. Some of them aren't sold out, but we've had a lot of success. The residents wanted us to restore that theater, and I'm telling you, we thought there's no way we can do that. I don't know if Kim wants to talk a little bit about it, but Kim was over that one. So before Kim came into the mayor's office, he was, like I said, Parks and Rec director, and Kim, that was his baby. He made that happen over there. But it was cool. It's we had Lauren Allred from she sang Never Enough and
Okay.
The Greatest Showman. She grew up here in Murray, and
Wow.
no one knows that.
Yeah.
And I just sent a message on Instagram knowing she'd never answer, and she did answer. And I'm going like, I didn't say I was the mayor. I was a little embarrassed. Well, I'm the mayor,
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And like you said, I don't like doing that in case someone on Instagram goes, oh, I think you're cool. And, so I stay away from that and just say, I work for Murray City. And she happened to respond and say, I would love to come do that opening. So she did our grand opening. And, we did have 2 nights, full packed house. And it was just awesome. And then we've had some concerts in there that we've sold out. And then we have other stuff that doesn't sell out, but we have movies,
Sure.
plays, musicals, community. We have an amphitheater that's back by the Ken Price Ball Stadium.
Uh-huh.
It's just over there in the corner, and that's another thing that fills up and that we do. And we got new seating in that, and then so we've got the new theater. We have a new museum here that it used to be what they called the Murray Mansion, and it's now the Murray Museum, and it was a few $1 million project to get that done. And then we've got a brand new up by Ken Price, same place that we were talking about, armory. It's called the Armory, and it was owned by the Utah State at first, and then Salt Lake County acquired it, and then we ended up acquiring it. Gosh, probably 25, 30 years ago, something like that. And we just had storage in there. And my wife one day said, we need an indoor-outdoor event center. And I said, okay, Mayor, where would you like to have this built? And she's going, well, go see if there's a place. So Doug Hill was in the office instead of Kim at the time, the first 4 years. And Doug worked here at Murray State for a lot of years. And he said, we had plans to do something like that, the Armory, but no one wanted to approve it. And I said, can I see it? And I look at plans and I don't understand them. I take them home to Cindy, and she goes through them and she goes, this is exactly what I was talking about. So really, months later, the council approved it. That is now an indoor-outdoor event center, and it's packed. We've made over $265,000 in about a matter of about 10 months. So it just opened.
That's great.
It's busy almost every
Is
night.
it still called the Armory?
We call it the Armory.
Okay.
Yep. And weddings are there, receptions. You can have third-party alcohol if you want to have that. You have to go through a third party.
You can get married at the
You
Armory.
can get
I'm trying to
married. They do marriages, ceremonies. The receptions. Yeah. It's pretty good. There's a dressing room for the women. That they kind of a makeshift, but it's just it's got garages, old garages doors, and they're huge. And we've got 6 of them. They can open up you can open up anytime you want. But during this time of year, if you want to have outdoor, indoor, and then there's a stage outside, and it's right next to the creek along the park. And So it really is right along the creek outside the park, and it is absolutely beautiful at night, especially. And it's I would say it's used about 4 to 5 times a week,
Wow.
sometimes more, but it's wonderful.
Okay, so we got the Armory, this indoor-outdoor event center, the mansion of Murray. What goes on at the mansion?
So it's a historic thing where people come in and they can go through files to see who the first mayor was, if they have relatives
got
that
it.
were part of here. It's like a research center, and they come in, and then there's old parts of Murray that's part of that museum. So Don Blair, photographer, his son, who I know, said, "Hey, Gary," said, "You want to have some of my dad's stuff?" Yeah. So we've got, and then the old projector was in there for a while from the Murray Theater. Now we've moved the projector over to display it at the Murray Theater now. So
Tell us a little bit about heading the Murray Theater.
yeah,
Is what it was called.
Okay, so the Murray Theater was first built in 1938. Throughout time, it has been owned by three different people that it started out as a movie theater, and then it was a venue for clubs and comedy acts and stuff like that. When the city bought it in 2017, it had not been used for several years. It was very, needed a lot of work. We originally looked at the theater and thought, how could, like the mayor said, how can we remodel or restore this theater? It's just not possible. But the citizens of Murray came out and wanted it restored. So we took on the project of restoring the theater. And when I say restore it, we tried to restore it so that it looks and feels like it did in 1938. We went to the extent of having the paint analyzed in the same colors that
Oh,
it
wow.
was in 1938. Some of the theater is still original, like the diffuser that brings in air is still original. The seats resemble the original seats, although they're today's standards and a lot more comfortable. The concession stand looks like the original.
Wow.
It's 330 seats. We designed it and built it so that it can accommodate movies. It can accommodate bands and groups. It can accommodate theatrical performances.
How does it do that? How do you watch a movie on the same? I would think there's just a screen in the way of where the stage would be. How does it do both?
Great question. Great question. And that's not the way that it was back in the day. So you have a screen that'll go up and down. Underneath the stage, there is what's called a green room where performers can prepare and get ready. That we have a stage lift. It became very obvious that we needed to have a multi-use theater, not just one for movies, not just one for plays, and not just one for musical performances. The mayor mentioned, we've had a lot of groups that have performed there. We've had several movies. We had the Miss Murray pageant. We've had companies rent the theater and have business meetings there,
Yeah.
business parties there. I think we're really just learning what all it can accommodate.
What does it cost to rent the theater?
Well, I right now the price to rent the theater, you can rent it for a birthday party for a child for $500.
Okay.
And that'll get you all 330 seats and a movie. And then you can buy
It's a wild
concessions.
birthday party.
Yeah. And the idea there was to give back to the community. They paid for it to give back to the community and allow the community to use it.
Awesome.
Can I tell you one thing about the theater? real
Please
quick?
tell us another thing
So
about the theater.
the fun thing is I thought you were going to tell us, but in 2016, 2009, before we had purchased it, I had a friend that owned it, and from high school, and it was no seats. There was no seating. You just stood. It was a mosh pit or whatever they call it. And David Archuleta was my neighbor. Has been neighbors to us
Okay.
forever, and he doesn't usually call. And after he had taken second place on American Idol in 2008, 2009, he's home doing whatever. And he calls Cindy, my wife, which she's just, that's something he doesn't do. And he asked if we could get tickets to the theater because there's a girl singing that he wanted to go watch. So I said, or Cindy asked me, and I called Nate. And he goes, duh, yeah, David Archuleta wants to come. So they put us up in the booth, which you think would be like the suite. No, there were rats running around. It was not that clean up there. Anyway, so Cindy and David were looking out the window, and I'm talking to the owner, Nathan, the entire time this girl's saying, I had never heard of her. Most people hadn't. I don't know why. I thought, why does David want to hear her sing? And I'd never heard of her. And so I talked to Nathan the entire time. I never heard a single note this girl sang. It was Adele.
It was Adele?
It was Adele.
Adele.
2009, Adele came to the Murray Theater. So,
but you didn't hear her sing? How did you miss? Oh, because you were talking to somebody.
Yeah, and I didn't. I was talking because wasn't interested. I thought, she's from England? Okay.
Murray's claim to fame, everybody.
Yeah.
Adele once sang at the Murray Theater.
And the mayor never heard a note.
Oh.
Is that sad?
That's
anyway,
really
it's a
sad.
Fun story to tell, but not fun that I experienced that. So.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
I doubt Adele will ever see this little.
Oh, come on!
Video.
Don't you think she's going to come back?
Come back? Maybe she'll come back. I'd be,
Yeah.
Adele. If you want to buy a home in Murray, I'll be happy to help.
We have a good realtor.
Okay, so we've heard about the theater that's been restored. That's cool.
Right. Now,
the museum.
And Chad can tell you a little bit about the new renderings that are happening and planning and what's going on right here and other places, and even talk about some of the housing that we want to talk a little bit about.
Yeah.
Lower income housing. So.
Well, let's talk first about this, and for everybody to keep gesturing out here. Tell us what the dimensions are for the master plan. Am I saying it right? Is it a master plan community that's going to be going in here? Or
it's a mixed-use development.
Mixed-use development, kind of city center?
City
Hall's right here.
City Hall's here. Our entire downtown is kind of the city center. We've got a couple different areas that we're looking to redevelop. So I'll start off with Block 1. Block 1 is right across the street, a little bit higher. Okay. Block 1's right across the street. Block 1's 140 residential units, about 45,000 square foot of mixed-use commercial. That'll be retail on the first floor, office use on the second and third floor. That development was approved through a development agreement with Rockworth Development. They are in the process of getting some of the approvals from the various utility companies. There are other approval bodies besides the city that have to approve the developments. They're in that process right now, but we expect the ground will break this fall for that development. It'll have an underground parking garage, so there'll be parking underneath the buildings. There'll be a surface parking lot as well. That again was part of a partnership with the city. There's some tax increment financing that's gone towards that project.
Are these condos or are these apartments?
These are apartments.
Okay, so this is a place for people to rent, not to own.
That's right.
Okay. I'd struggle to see single family homes going in here. We're probably going for higher density housing. Is anything going to be something that people can own?
Within the downtown, there is a project that's been approved called the Stacks. That's condominium development.
Okay,
cool.
So
that is ownership. The other part of our downtown, I say this is part of the city center because we have the old City Hall site. The old City Hall site, we have anticipating a request for proposals that'll be issued in the next few weeks. We had a previous proposal there that included some ownership housing as well, some townhomes. This would be something that someone could propose. The council is definitely interested in having ownership type housing as part of the development. So that could be something that comes forward again. But that would also include a mixed-use development. We would anticipate the previous approval there had a pretty good percentage of medical office buildings. So we may get that as part of a proposal, but that we're looking forward to the proposals from private developers on that parcel.
And any other new developments that you would point out to people looking at Murray?
There's a lot of housing going on in Murray. There has been historically. We've got just across the railroad tracks along 3rd West, not too far from our front runner station. We have a big development, Burger Station Apartments, that's close to 400 units that's being constructed right now. We've got, of course, our Fire Clay area was kind of the first place where we did some of the low-income housing tax credit developments. So we've got a number of units up there that are, we just finished a project, Hooper Knowlton, which his group is called Parley's Partners. They just finished a low-income housing tax credit development that's geared towards seniors. So it's senior housing. It's a mixed income development. So you have units that are at market rate and units that are subsidized through the low-income housing tax credit.
We talked about this briefly right before the cameras were on as well. Every week I make a post where I just look for something that's interesting that's going on in the Salt Lake County relevant to housing, and I'll green screen the article behind me, and I'll try to summarize the article and my thoughts about it in a minute. It usually turns out being more like 3 to 4, but it's just I'm prone to ramble and give too much data when I'm giving an answer. And a few, maybe a month, maybe 2 months ago, something like that, I found an article that talked about a proposed tax hike here in Murray that was going to affect property taxes. Of course, nobody loves to know that their property taxes are going to be coming up, but the article was fair, it seemed to me, and it talked about how what the breakdown of what each household's increase would be at that point with the proposal at the time was a little less than $4 per household per month. And for what the proposed tax hike money was going toward, it seemed like a good thing to me. And one of the people who commented on that said something, and I asked Erica about it, your assistant, when I was here in the office earlier, and she started to break down why the comment that I'll relate to you in a moment was a little, it didn't understand some of the data. But the person's comment was, our home values are coming up so drastically, or they did for a time, right? Incidentally, home values in Utah have only come up like 1% to 2% across the last 2 or 3 years, and wages are catching up, but not at the pace that home values shot up from 2019 to 2022. But the correction is happening slowly. Our home values jacked up so high, so fast that property values came up with it. Why can't they just use the incremental raise in property taxes instead of trying to raise our property taxes for anything at all? They shouldn't have to raise our property taxes for whatever the city's trying to do. Erica started to break down, shout out to Erica, she's not in the video, but yeah, she started to break it down, and it was like, well, it doesn't work that way. Can you talk to the point of how it doesn't work that way?
Well, the reason why she said it doesn't work that way, there's so many entities that are in this tax hike. You've got the school district that gets income from that tax hike. You've got the county. Am I correct on that? The county gets a certain amount, like probably quite a bit of money. And like I said, different other entities that get part of that. And so we get 10%, which really not, I mean, we're asking for a 10% hike, which is really 9 point something.
So, sorry, let me break in and make
please.
sure I understand, because if I'm struggling to follow, then some people watching might struggle to follow. What the city gets in property tax, what do you mean when you say you only get 10%? Do you mean the 10% is only allocated to something specific? Or
Your question was, my home has increased substantially. That means you're getting more money, tax money. Murray's getting more tax money. Why can't they just use that money? Right. That's not true. Murray, the way that property taxes work is we can only collect what we did the previous year. So if your home goes up in value, the percentage of taxes actually goes down. The only way that the city can generate more taxes is by increasing our tax levy. Does that make sense? So if you have a $500,000 home,
okay,
and your neighbor has a $500,000 home,
okay,
let's say you're each paying $100 for taxes in 2024.
Okay.
The next year,
$100 like per month.
$100 for, I'm just saying $100 per year.
Okay. Nobody's paying $100. I don't know where you live, sir, but nobody's paying $100 per year in taxes.
The next year, one home goes up $600. The value let's say they add on, it goes up $600,000, and the other home stays the same.
How would that happen?
You would remodel.
Oh, okay, got it. So they've done something to their home. They've improved it drastically.
They're going to pay more for their home in taxes, and you could pay less if your value went down for up to $100,000. So that because your home increases, our taxes don't increase. We can only collect what we collected the year before, and it's not a percentage. It's an amount. So the only way the city gets more taxes is to raise the tax levy.
So it'll stay.
Or to raise
you said it's not a percentage.
It's not a percentage.
It's a flat amount.
It's a flat amount.
So everybody's being taxed this flat amount based on the value of their home, but the value of the home increasing doesn't increase the property tax?
It doesn't increase the property. The property tax is set. A city can only can only collect what they did the year before. You might remember Proposition 13 from California. Back in those days, people's taxes continued to rise because their values continued to go up. So Proposition 13 said, yeah, you can't do that. And that's the way Utah is. If the city wants more money, they have to collect, they have to ask for more money and add more money into their tax base or what they're collecting, not by the percentage of the home, but by the amount they actually collect.
This is a question I want to ask ChatGPT now. Not to say that you're lying, but I've only been a realtor for 5 years. And in the time that I've been a realtor, I just happened to get in as home prices were being dramatically increased. I got in 2021. And so I remember looking at what property taxes cost in a given area for a home of a given range price. And I watched the property taxes increase, I feel like, year over year over year. But I can't, I have no sheet. I don't have an Excel spreadsheet anywhere that kept track of here's what the property's value was and here's what the property taxes were, and watching it increase over time. But it's just a generic feeling I have. Is the feeling just false? Is it just a feeling?
The feeling is false.
Yeah.
It does go up.
You've got several different taxing entities. So you've got the school district, you've got the Salt Lake County, you've got Murray City, you've got other taxing entities, which would include things like mosquito abatement districts. Each year, those various taxing entities can increase that rate. They can increase the rate of tax that they.
But the city itself cannot.
The city can as well. Each of those have to go through the same process. So there has to be what they call a truth in taxation hearing. They have to say to their constituents, "Hey, we're proposing this tax increase," and as part of that, you may be paying more taxes because of that. So I think what a lot of times happens is that we as citizens, we see those taxes go up and we assume that it's because the value of our property has gone up. Well, they're tied together, but the only way that tax can go up is if one of those taxing entities says, we're going to increase the amount of tax revenue that we collect from the various either cities or school district. And that's where I think sometimes it's easy to say that, because I see the same thing. My property value has gone up, therefore my taxes have gone up. It's not always true. That is only if that taxing entity decided they wanted to raise their rate.
And how do people, how do homeowners actually know whether that's been proposed or not? Because I would suggest that most homeowners have, if you've lived in your home for 10 years and you've just watched your home taxes increase across the years, my guess is you probably didn't get 20 different notifications across that decade from all the different taxing entities that gave you the heads up that it was
each year
increasing.
on your tax statement, you'll have a little thing that'll tell you what your current levy rates are for the various taxing entities, and it will tell you what proposed increases are. And you can look at that as a homeowner, and then go to those various taxing entities. And we talked before we turned the cameras on about these public hearings that we have.
Yeah,
that's a place where you can go to the taxing entity, whether it's the city council or the Board of Education, and say, hey, I have a concern about this proposed tax increase that you're going to do, because it's going to increase my taxes by X amount. But again, while the value is tied to those increases, it can't go up unless those taxing entities approve a tax increase.
Okay, so I'll get my property tax notice, and on that, I'll see any proposed tax hikes and a place and time to go to make my voice heard in a way.
They won't give you the place and time, but it will tell you which taxing entity is proposing it.
And you can follow it out from there. Yep. Okay. And for everybody watching this from wherever you're watching it, I ChatGPT'd it. I asked, do property taxes in Utah increase in concert with the value of the property, or do taxing entities have to announce and pass a tax increase? It said this is one of the, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is one of the more misunderstood aspects of Utah's property tax system. The short answer is no. In Utah, property taxes do not automatically rise in proportion to your home's value. Instead, taxing entities, cities, counties, school districts, special districts, etc., generally must go through a public process to increase the amount of property tax revenue they collect. This is great. This is good for everybody here to know. You're watching me learn in real time. It's good to be here with people who know what's going on.
Honestly, and I say this in a respectful way, nothing to do with, the only reason I won't speak for these guys, but the only reason I know is I work for the city. I didn't know any of this. I knew none of this. And so when the residents come in, they really don't understand that. But by the time they leave, and most of them don't go to city council, but most of them will come to our office or something like that. And by the time they leave, they may not be happy, but they get it. They're going, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
There's a district or entity within all this that it goes to. And so they didn't know what you just read. They had no idea about that. Neither did I. I didn't have a clue. Just still kind of hard for me to wrap myself around it when you're going, when your prices go up, my taxes, why do my taxes go up if I have more value? Or why doesn't? Or why is I've never looked at that until now, until I've been in 15 years in office with city council and mayor. Well, yeah, now I look at it because I get it. But even the first years being on the city council, that was new to me. That was something hard to understand what Kim and Chad had just said to you.
Yeah. Well, thanks for helping us break it down. Sorry for me dragging it out. It's probably like when you get it, you just get it, and you start talking about it, and someone like me is like, what?
It's not easy to explain, as we just went through. Had we known the question was coming, I could have been better prepared.
Yeah, I did shoot that one out of note.
I look at my tax. I live in Murray. I look at my tax bill, and it seems like every year one of the taxing entities increase. So you think it's constantly just increasing.
Yeah,
it never goes down.
And it is constantly increasing, I suppose, but it's not all the city proposing. It's not the city just taking more money because the value of your home came up.
I'm not sure, but what do we get out of that when someone say it's or it's going to be a 5% tax hike?
Oh, that's right. That's something that you said off camera. I want to make sure everybody.
Okay, so
it was originally proposed 9%,
9.8 or something, right under 10%, and I did that, but I'm a little different. I don't know if most mayors. Well, I know most mayors don't do this. I'm trying to be kind, but most mayors don't do this. But what I do is after we meet with Chad and all our department heads and Kim, and we go over it, then we get the city council, the chair and the vice chair. You can't meet with more than 2 at a time. It's a quorum. And so you get 2 at a time. If you meet 3, it has to be a public meeting.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So we can only meet with 2, and so we usually choose the chair and the vice chair, and then the council director. And you know what? We get along with them. We're friends. Really, we're friends with these people. So I always tell them what we're planning well before they get it. So they're not going to come and go, "What?
Yeah.
You're wanting to do a 9.8? Do you know I'm running for office next year?" Anyway, so they don't really say that. I'm kidding. They don't.
They think it maybe.
I know that's what they're thinking. Anyway, and you're over there going like, so we get with the city council, and so they know everything. There's no surprises. And I say to them, now, if you get that to come down, make sure we work together like I'm doing with you now.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what they did. They kept me informed. They got it all the way down to 5 point something with some other revenue coming in, and we cut back on a little more resource. You don't want to cut back too much because the residents want service, and the residents want first responders. And so that's why they come and say, we're okay raising our taxes $2 a month. But what I was going to say is that $2 or $3 a month, we don't get all that.
The city doesn't even get all the proposed tax hike that you're asking for.
Is that what it is?
I could be wrong, but hopefully I'll get an answer before we're done. I think every dollar that you pay in property taxes, Murray gets like 13 cents.
Yeah, that's
got it. Okay.
Most the county and the school district get the biggest percentage of it.
And I knew that the school districts were tied up in property taxes and the county was tied up in property taxes, but that was all just ephemerally in my head, and I never put it together that these are separate entities and they can't all be pulling. They're all pulling from the entirety. It's not like the school districts get all the property tax.
Right.
It's not like the city gets all the property taxes. But more to the concerned point of the gentleman who asked me the question I think it was on TikTok, and he asked the question, why are they still increasing taxes when the home's value came up?
Right.
And it turns out that's a misunderstanding of how property taxes come up over time. They don't come up with the home's value. They come up only when the entities that create the taxes actually propose a tax increase.
Right.
Okay.
And I did get the answer. 13 cents.
It
of
is
each
13
dollar.
cents on the dollar that the city gets on
That the
property
city
taxes.
gets.
Got it. Okay.
I just want to mention a little bit. You mentioned Benyon and Julie Jackson, Mill Creek, and Cottonwood Heights mayors. It's kind of cool because I'm friends with all those people, and some may be Democrats, and some may be Republicans, and some may be unaffiliated. And
Do we have any unaffiliated
So-
mayors?
we do. We do. In fact, so what we run on is nonpartisan. So you do not run on a political base, but you still have your political party
Yeah.
that you belong to, and people usually know what way you lean, left or right. And I mean, I happen to be someone who's unaffiliated, and
You
because
do.
we're nonpartisan, and so nonpartisan. If you really go by nonpartisan, you come in and guess what you do? You do what's best for the city, not a party.
Right.
And that is the most wonderful thing that you find out through. I think we have a couple. Salt Lake City is partisan, and so there's a few things. I think Jenny Wilson, Salt Lake County is also partisan, but most cities, the municipalities, we're non-partisan, and it is so cool that no one comes in here from a special interest group and says, "I want you to do this," because we get to go, "Yeah, we're not going to do that,"
Yeah.
because we're not beholden to anyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of, for me, it's the coolest thing ever. And Murray is a diverse city. I mean, I'm not kidding you. We are so diversified, and because of our housing, we have low income, we have high end, we have moderate, and I would say most of this city is what you call a moderate. You're amongst, you got on the south side of Murray, Fashion Place Mall.
Mhm.
Then on this side, you've got Costco's down here, but you've got, how come I can't say the name of the one up by
Sam's Club?
Sam's Club. You've
Oh,
got Sam's
yes.
Club that's on the south side, but you've got Costco that's in the middle here on
Uh-huh.
53rd, and Costco, everyone knows, it could possibly be one of our main resources of revenue. And then we have in the mall, we've got probably one of our highest also is at the Apple. It's a little tiny store, but it brings in revenue. And so we've got restaurants. We're bringing new restaurants in. We have a brand new restaurant called Fogo de Chao that's a Brazilian steakhouse that's next to Cheesecake. You probably don't even know about it. Just went in.
Yeah.
And those guys are packed every
Great.
single day. So Murray is blessed, not just with car dealerships, because when you just get car dealerships, your portfolio is just that. Well, we want a portfolio of a lot of things in case car dealerships decide to leave and go somewhere else or change. So we have got a great portfolio of stakeholders in this city.
Yeah.
And we talk to these people. We go visit with them and just make sure things are going well, or they come to us, and we work with a lot of stakeholders here, and it's cool. It's a cool thing here in Murray.
Yeah, that's good. And Murray does have a lot of great stakeholders, as you say. I've done a couple of videos on, hey, welcome to Murray. Here's what the homes are like. Here's what the housing market is like right now. Here's what the amenities are like. And just looking at the history of Murray, there is a span of time where it was kind of known as car dealerships because that lined State Street right through Murray. And if you're watching, and if you're unfamiliar with the valley at all, yeah, Murray is smack in the middle of Salt Lake County, right in the middle of Salt Lake Valley. And it's close to everything. You're going to get anywhere that you need to go quickly. But yeah, there is a history of, there's a span of time where it was known for car dealerships lining State Street. But yeah, it's not like that at this point.
have
There are still car dealerships, but there's everything else you're talking about
Lots
too.
of them. Intermountain Health, IMC.
Yes. Isn't that the single largest
yeah.
jobs provider in
Yeah,
Murray?
absolutely. We don't get taxes off them, property taxes, but we get other taxes
Okay.
from them, and there's different ways that we have income from them. But they have been a great source, like you just said, to bring. And then we got hotels all around here because these hotels are filled because we got patients over there and their families need places to stay. So I really believe this Murray is one of the best well-run machines. It's just, we have a lot of good people that know what they're doing.
Great. Yeah. I live here.
Yeah, there's your proof right there.
Right. That's all anybody needs to know. Christopher McGee lives in Murray,
That's right.
and Adele once sang here.
That's right.
Okay.
And David Archuleta, we know David.
Right. Of course. Okay. I'll ask this question, and I'll tell you why I'm asking it. What part do you feel a city's governing body plays in the affordability of the housing there? And here's why I ask this question. Because I watch the market play out. And there are times when the free market just doing what it's going to do hurts people. There's times when it helps people. It can't help everyone at the same time to the maximum. Right now, if we look in recent history, the free market has led to this we're kind of victims of our own success in Utah with the housing market. There's a lot of people that want to be here for a lot of reasons. And that led to a spike of housing values across the COVID era. That's painful for a lot of people here now, of course. And housing affordability, I think, is probably one of the top issues in a lot of people's minds when they're looking at where to live or the politics of the area that they live in. So what part do you feel a city's governing body plays in the affordability of the housing there? Because it's like I would never do away with regulations. There's regulations that have to be in place or else greed will absolutely take over. But if you just choke the free market, then there's too many instances in history where that has led to catastrophes.
So I think it's important. Myself, I think it's important. Remember, we're the council is separate than I am, and the council is our purse string, and the council makes the zoning calls, all that. I don't do any of that. I'm a guest at their meetings, even though everyone that appears there works for me, all the department heads. So I would say that from our side of it, the administration, we think that's important. We think it's important for our city and for the government to get involved and have some low-income housing to be able to help those that can't get into homes or even into apartments, because this, like you said, and you know this better than I do in real estate, people cannot afford to buy anything nowadays.
A lot of people can't.
Our kids were lucky; they bought during the pandemic or right before or during, and they got that 2.5 interest rate, and so they can't move anywhere now. They're stuck in their homes because they don't want a 7% or 6% interest rate. But so we don't have that. So we help. We think it's important. We also have right across the way here is called NeighborWorks. And it's an assistant for down payment and for those the low-income qualifiers that can get assistance. And we put a certain pot in there with NeighborWorks so that we did $200,000 this past time, $200,000
For NeighborWorks this last year, we did twice that. Yeah,
twice that, so $400,000. So $400,000 for people that need assistance in down payments or fixing up the home. And they have to qualify, but it's a wonderful program. And we think that we do those things because we think government, I'm one that's not going to say everything like you said, because then you're in a market where it chokes you. Mm-hmm. So you just can't do that. But where we're at now and what Governor Cox is asking us to do, we've stepped up, and we're probably one of in my opinion, we probably, out of all the cities, we're one of the best. I don't know if we're the best, but we're one of the best that has covered the low-income housing. We have more than probably most percentage in the state.
Okay. Are there what fine-tuning of regulations do you see that needs to happen as Murray continues to evolve?
Okay, I get myself in trouble here.
I didn't know I was asking that kind of question.
Well, this is a question that deals with our legislators, our Utah legislators, and
of course, there's an interplay. You can't single-handedly, unilaterally make a bunch of decisions. There's this interplay.
But I got to tell you, I'm going to be blunt.
I love it.
The legislators do not love the federal government coming in and trying to overtake certain things that they're doing. Same with us cities.
Yeah.
Governor Cox, he knows more than anybody. He has been a governor or a mayor down south. Where was it?
in
Sevier County. I can't think of the name of the place there, but anyway, he was a mayor down there, so he understands this. And but the legislators were wanting to take over some of our zoning. They have got involved with when we do inspections. If we're not doing inspections in a certain amount of time, then a builder, they have another avenue to go. And there's just things that, and we don't have that. That's not a problem for us because we're quick at getting those things done. But we don't want the Utah legislators interfering with our zoning. And that's one thing, as they've been talking about maybe taking about certain zoning rights away from the cities. I think would be a huge mistake because every city is so different.
Yeah. What can I ask? What zoning, where have they proposed to change? What did they want to change?
They didn't get anything passed. I don't think they did this year with major zonings, but they're always, I hate to use threatening, but they're always
hanging over your head about
saying
it.
that this is something they want to do. And next year there's some new programs that may want to take away certain zonings, like say, well, Chad, what would be a good example of something where we're changing, or that they would like to take over possibly?
Yeah, I think the example last year was there was some legislation that was proposed that would require cities to have a certain maximum lot size, essentially, that they would have to have lots that had to be zoned a certain size. I think all these efforts are well intentioned. I think it's really important that we have partnerships with the state. I think, to the mayor's point, I think cities can do it themselves. And I think we've been talking about as a city some measures that would address this. And I think, there are places where smaller lot sizes make sense. And we're going to be bringing some of those areas to the city council. Mayor talked about that's really a legislative action from the city council, but they feel the same way. We want to look at areas that make sense for smaller lots as a way to try to address what Governor Cox has said about starter homes. There's a partnership with the state. There's a partnership with our development community. If the city creates a smaller lot to try to encourage affordability, then the developers need to make sure that they're building the right type of product in that smaller lot. If we simply go in and build a large house on a small lot, we've defeated the purpose. We need to have small lots with the right type of housing that promotes affordability. There's some good examples of these that are being built throughout the state. We want to be part of that. Murray's at a little bit of a disadvantage because we have so much of our community that's built out. So we don't have a lot of large areas that we can dedicate towards building single-family homes. But we do have some. We do have some infill opportunities. What the mayor said is absolutely true, though. What we've done more than our part of is providing for affordable housing. And there's a difference between affordable housing and housing affordability. But in our Fire Clay area, I mentioned we have many, many low-income housing tax credit developments. We had a University of Utah study that said that we do have a disproportionate share of that in Murray. So we've done a good job. You see many multifamily developments around Murray. There are communities like Murray, we're not the only one, that are doing their part and more than their part to provide for affordable housing and to try to promote housing affordability. And those cities should be examples of what can be done to the other cities. And I think the biggest thing that the League of Cities and Towns quotes over and over again is one size fits all. We can't do a state regulation that addresses
That's a
every
great quote.
city. Didn't come up with it. That's, I think, whoever it was,
Yeah.
Cameron Deal, whoever the state,
Cameron.
or the League of Cities and Towns. But yeah, it does. One size fits all. We have unique challenges in Murray City. We are an infill community that you won't see when we get to some of the growing communities in western Utah County, South Salt Lake County. Those are areas that are growing fast, that have open land that's available. We have different challenges. We have infill opportunities where we can create small lots that can hopefully promote housing affordability, but it's going to be on a different scale than Eagle Mountain or Saratoga Springs or one of these other communities.
Yeah. Great. Okay.
Let me answer real quick. Say something real quick. The proof is in the pudding. You have seen an awakening with the Utah state legislators. The president of the Senate lost his bid. I don't know if that's ever happened in this. It could have, but you've had prominent leaders on the Hill that lost, that are no longer, this was their primary, and they didn't get through. A little surprising to me but I think that's maybe an awakening of the people saying, how you used to say, if you want to change, then go on, then vote them out. That's what you got to do. I think that's what we've seen a little bit, where people weren't satisfied, and that will happen here. Same thing. I've seen it with local elections. I've seen it on the Hill. So the people are speaking up, but not just in protest. They're doing it in
They're voting.
With their pen.
Yeah.
So it's honestly, that's the way it's supposed to happen. It's kind of cool that we have seen this. Not cool to those that lost, but cool to those that wanted to make a change. You will see a change. You have to see a change. I've never known, and I've known Stuart Adams, and so I was a little surprised when he was defeated in his primary. There was also another senator that was defeated. I can't say his name. Dan McKay. Dan McKay's well known, very well respected, and he was beaten by a young man, a young Polynesian, He's like probably 40. And
thank you.
So you're not Polynesian, but you are.
No, but
you are 40.
Anyway,
I'm seeing is good people, and I'm not saying these other people weren't good.
Sure.
But they've been in a long time, and you're seeing people that want fresh, new start, and I'm not seeing anything like it in my 15 years.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just to close out, what would you say to people looking at moving to Murray?
I'd say you want to come to Murray because we are diversified. When people talk about being political, we're not political. We really aren't political. Sure, you've got certain websites that come from Murray city citizens, but honestly, we're not. We're more of a just moderate, welcoming community that wants to get along. And you know what? I ran my campaign on for every one of my elections on being kind. And I've had people say, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Well,
You keep winning.
it's got me where I am. And we really believe, all of us here, that's what kind of our motto is. And we have a slogan here is love Murray. And what we're saying this, thanks for coming here, love Murray, meaning we love you. So that's our campaign, love Murray. And I think that's what this tight-knit community has been forever. It's not anything new. We've just jumped on board with it. And things we're building here, a lot of residents like. Now, there are certain things they don't like with high rises, the high density, they're not fans of.
Yeah, nobody's a fan.
But most of the things we're trying to involve them. And anyway, they're a part of it. And it's what our median housing price here is, what, 600,000, somewhere on that.
In Murray specifically,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
more like 550.
Oh, it's a 550.
Yeah.
Okay, seemed like we had about
we
602.
We just barely
Did our thing.
received our property tax information. It's about 600 now. It's around 600.
Off our property taxes anyway.
The new numbers.
But we
the new
know.
numbers.
Hey, but we know you know. You're
But
a
yeah.
realtor.
The new numbers are based off what?
Based off the
What's the
county
time slot,
assessor's,
right?
value.
Right, and it's looking at across the previous year.
Right.
I'm looking at it week over week.
Okay.
It's
So
about
550.
Yeah,
550.
you're right.
550. It sounds. I mean, that's high, but not higher than other areas you'd be moving in. You hit some other areas here, you'd be a lot higher.
Yeah.
But we are high. We're probably one of the higher ones.
Oh, homes hold value here just great.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's cool.
Absolutely. Okay. Well,
Yeah. So
you guys got to go. Mayor Hales,
Okay.
thank
All
you
right.
so much.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Nice to meet you.
Chris.
I
Thank
hope you keep
Nice-
doing well.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, it's finally nice to meet you.
Yeah.
You know.